Throughout the 1950s, it was Chuck Moser's Abilene High Eagles who were the talk of the town in Texas high school football, winning 3 straight state championships in the mid-50s. But during that era, there was another Abilene school making waves.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The all-black Carter G. Woodson Rams, a program that made 2 state football championship appearances in 1953 and 1956, in what was known as the all-black Prairie View Interscholastic League. Despite falling short in the title games, they were still representing the key city while playing in the shadows.
There was some, I wouldn't say bitterness, but there was some disappointment that we were not recognized as Abilene High was being recognized.
During this time, Abilene, like many cities throughout the South, battled racism, something Pastor Andrew Penns of Valley View Baptist Church here in Abilene, along with Pastor Charles Sims, an Abilene native and current pastor of Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church in Odessa, both remember.
Actually experienced a time when I was told, myself and my brothers, that we could not sit on the soda fountain stools to even have a soda or to get any ice cream.
Growing up in Abilene and going to school in Abilene was the fact that we didn't have the same opportunities, I would say, as the white community.
The Abilene Colored School, the first public school for African Americans, was established in 1890, but it wasn't until 1953 that a junior-senior high school was built for African Americans on Cockrell Drive, creating an identity of their own in Abilene.
The coach, the staff, the principals, and the student body elected and voted that the school would no longer be called Abilene Black Eagles, and they switched the name and changed it to the Abilene, to Woodson, Carter G. Woodson Rams.
Named after the distinguished black author and historian Carter Godwin Woodson, there was a new school on Abilene's north side, and with the football team ready to play.
The most thing that I remember is that no matter how big they were all fast. They were all real speedy. Not just the running backs, but even the linemen were real fast players, and nobody could keep up with them.
The 1953 team was filled with playmakers. Lewis Kelly was one of them, who passed in 2019. Upon graduation from Woodson in 1956, he would land at New Mexico State and later was drafted in 1960 by the Denver Broncos. As a Texas high school football head coach, he guided Lubbock Estacado to 17 district titles, 4 state semifinal games, and 1 state championship appearance. As for the 56 team, they shared some talent with the NFL as well.
My brother EA was drafted by the Baltimore Colts, then he was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He wound up his career playing in Canada.
For Pastor Sims, who was a water boy on the team in 56, cheering on his brother EA, he recalls just how close Woodson was to bringing home a state title that year.
We had a 7-0 lead going into the fourth quarter. It was a defensive struggle, and I do remember the quarterback, and he ran a keeper play to get a first down. I think it was probably inside the 10-yard line. But he fumbled the ball, and the Gladewater boy caught the ball in the air, run it back for a touchdown. That's how they beat us.
For years, having shared a field with Abilene High at Playfair Park, where what's known today as Curly Hayes Field on Barrow, and playing on Saturdays, giving the right-of-way to the Eagles on Friday nights, desegregation would eventually fold Woodson High School in 1968, 14 years after the Supreme Court ruled that segregated education was unconstitutional. With all that said, according to Pastor Sims, history of the school has been difficult to find.
We really don't know what happened to all of the artifacts and the history of the school. Personally, I don't know what happened, but I do know that a lot of it disappeared, and we don't know what took place with it.
Voices raised.
Aside from what happened to all the school's artifacts, one of the biggest questions out there is what if?
If they had been integrated, I think there'd have been many more championships that have been brought home in this city.
There was always a comparison as to, were we as good as they were, as far as athleticism was concerned. I believe that there was many of the players of Woodson could have been standouts on the Abilene team if they had been integrated at the time.
So let the bridges burn.
We'll truly never know how good Abilene football could have been throughout the 1950s and 60s if integration had happened. Nonetheless, it appears that we'll have to settle for the question of what if, while reflecting on how far our city has come. For BigCountryHomepage.com, I'm Manny Diaz.
So let the bridges burn.